your father?
Kurt's after the cat.
What cat?
Cousin Dorothy's cat, Tabitha.
Well, that's ridiculous, Joe. Kurt can't have Cousin Dorothy's cat.
Here's the paper, Mother.
Thank you, dear. Joe, you can't go to school dressed like that.
But I'm not going to school today, Mother. This is Saturday.
Saturday? Well, good heavens, so it is. Whatever became of Friday? Rebecca. You'll wake your father. Rebecca, how can you expect to be an artist if you hate art?
But, Mother, I don't want to be an artist.
But your father has his heart set on having an artist in the family.
Then why doesn't he be the artist?
Because he's a lawyer. Margaret. Margaret.
Yes, Mother.
You must practice more quietly. Your father's sleeping.
Yes, Mother.
Sounds rather bumpy, Margaret. Your father says you should flow like the sea.
Well, I can't make it flow, Father or no father.
Oh, he knows I don't want to be a musician.
But your father wants a musician in the family.
Then why doesn't he be a musician?
Because he's a lawyer.
But that's what I want to be, a lawyer like Father.
Don't be silly, dear. Ladies aren't lawyers.
Why aren't ladies lawyers? Answer me that.
Because it isn't ladylike. It's like, well, could you imagine a lady driving an automobile?
Rosa Yancey!
Good morning, Mr. Yancey.
Where in the holy henfish are my clean clothes?
Mr. Yancey, you know perfectly well that poor old Uncle Josh came down with rheumatism as soon as he got the farm.
Bilious Bonaparte of all the inefficient, incompetent...
Mr. Yancey, if you would consent to having your clothes washed here in town like other people, then Uncle Josh wouldn't have to drive clear to your mother's farm every week.
But I don't want my clothes to smell of city smoke and garbage.
Please, Mr. Yancey, don't yell. I can hear.
If I can't yell at my own wife in my own house, where the holy Hannah can I yell?
You're still district attorney, Mr. Yancey. You have a perfectly lovely courtroom in which to yell.
Well, I don't have to yell in the courtroom, Rosebud, except at your cousin, Judge Stewart.
Judge Stewart is a very fine gentleman. He has his clothes washed right here in Lynchburg.
I want my clothes to smell of fresh spring water and clean Bedford County sunshine. Petrified Peter, you want me to get vermin?
Mr. Yancey, none of the men in my family ever use such language.
None of the men in your family have enough imagination. Robert, have you been wearing my clean clothes again?
No, Father.
My last shirt, and there's not a button on it. Hang it, old son. Before you get married, you better learn to sew. You'll go around dressed like John the Baptist.
Yes, Father. Good morning, Mother. Sugar, you take this.
Yes, Grandma.
And, baby, you take the harmony.
Yes, Grandma.
And don't drop that dish. Well, here we go to Beulah Land again. With everything getting cold before we get there. I wish they'd put that dining room back next to the kitchen where it belongs.
Talk of Alexander and some of Hercules, of Hector and Lysander, and such great names as these. For the whole the world's great. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You splinters of Adam. Good morning, Rosa.
What did you say, Mr. Yancey?
I said good morning, Rosa.
Oh, we already met this morning, Mr. Yancey.
Oh, yes, so we did. Hinges of Hades. Scat, you beast.
Oh, that's Cousin Dorothy's cat. She went to Richmond.
Well, I'd rather have Cousin Dorothy's cat in the house than Cousin Dorothy. At least the cat doesn't yowl everybody's business from the back fence. Joel.
Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy bounty. Amen.
Amen. And how's the music coming along, Margaret?
Oh, wonderful, Father.
Yeah? And Becky, how's my little artist getting along?
Oh, wonderful, Father.
Yeah, you see, Rosa, how easy it is to instill ladylike qualities in our daughters?
Yes, Mr. Yancey.
Music, painting, dancing, these are the proper attributes. Where in the holy Hannah is my paper?
What did you say, Mr. Yancey?
The morning paper, where is it?
Well, I haven't the faintest idea. Oh, yes, here it is.
Oh, thank you. Well, the war in the Balkans is going on as usual. Well, bless my soul.
What is it, Father?
Nothing.
What, Father, your picture's in the paper.
Oh.
Look, Becky.
Why, Father, you made a speech. Father's made a speech.
Did you, Mr. Yancey?
At the Piedmont Club.
Mr. Robert Yancey, prosecuting attorney for the city of Lynchburg.
Now holding his 6th term, made an apparently extemporaneous but nevertheless biting speech against prohibition, which those in the know, politically, interpret as an opening volley in his campaign for the 7th term. Here we go again.
Now, Rosa, you know how reporters are.
Mr. Yancey, you gave me your solemn promise 4 years ago that you would never run for office again.
Well, let's not discuss it in front of the children.
But it concerns the children. You promised them as well as me.
Yes, I know. By Jove, I've got a telephone. Oh,
Mr. Yancey.
Bilious Bonaparte, a naked nephew in my last clean shirt. Emmeline, bring me a towel.
I get it, Mr. Yancey.
Now what am I going to do? Go to the office in a blanket? Rosa, man wouldn't have to wait an hour for a towel if you just move this dining room back where it belongs, next to the kitchen, and put the library up here where it belongs.
Well, I will, Mr. Yancey,
just as soon as you get around to it.
Good morning, Mr. Yancey, sir.
Good morning.
Morning, Uncle George. How's Grandma?
Fine, mighty fine. She said she'd be mighty glad when school is out and you all come to the farm again.
I'll be glad to get there
Did you bring any
myself.
strawberries, Uncle Josh?
Strawberries and butter and potatoes.
Strawberries, butter, and potato, molten Methuselah. Doesn't anyone in this household realize that here I stand with a coffee-soaked bosom waiting for a clean shirt?
What you stand there for, Josh Preston? Didn't you hear the boss say you need a clean shirt?
All right, Emmeline, I got it right here.
Mr. Yancey,
Yes, Rosa.
you'll be sure and have a talk with me before you go.
Yes, Rosa. Buttons, by gad, buttons.
Yes, sir. Your ma got out the needle and thread just as soon as the wash hit the farm last week. She said you was the button bustingest child she'd ever seen. Mr. Yancey,
Yes, Josh.
Aunt Mandy's in a heap of trouble.
And Mandy?
Yeah, you remember Aunt Mandy? Her pa worked for your pa, Aunt Mandy Brown.
Oh, of course, yes. What's the matter with Aunt Mandy?
Well, ain't nothing the matter with Aunt Mandy, but her boy Jefferson.
Jefferson Brown?
Yes, sir.
Is that Aunt Mandy's boy?
Yes, sir, boss.
Well, he's up for murder.
Yes, sir, Mr. Yancey, but Jefferson ain't got murder in his heart. He get in a fight with Matt Toby and hit him too hard. Maybe I done wrong, but I told Aunt Mandy to come to your office to see you. Maybe I done wrong?
Oh, of course not, Josh. What are friends for if not come to in time of trouble?
We've been friends for a long time, ain't we, boss?
Yeah, Josh, all our lives.
And you gonna help Aunt Mandy, ain't you?
Well, I don't know what I can do. I don't know what I can do for Aunt Mandy, Josh. But I'll do my best, I promise you that.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Yancey. Thank you.
Mr. Yancey.
Oh, yes, Rosa. I'm late.
My, we're looking very handsome this morning, Mr. Yancey.
Rosa, you're a flirt.
Mr. Yancey, how much longer has our turn to run?
Oh, a few months more.
Then we'll be a free man, won't we, Mr. Yancey? You must be counting the days.
Yes, I've counted them.
We're not weakening, are we, Mr. Yancey?
No, just wondering. You know, Rosa, my father used to say a man couldn't ask much more of life than a chance to serve the beautiful Commonwealth of Virginia.
Oh, Robert Yancey, you act as if the office were hereditary. Just because your father spent his life as attorney for the Commonwealth.
My father had a good life. Not that I'm thinking of running again, but I'm a happy man, Rosa. And I wonder how happy I'd be if I thought I was shirking my duty.
But you've done your duty for 6 long terms. Now you deserve a chance to spend more time with your children, to tend to your private practice. Get away and see a little of the world. Perhaps all the things you wanted to do for so long. Promise me you won't run again. Promise me. Please, Robert.
I do believe you're finally reaching the height of your beauty, Rosebud.
Oh, Rosebud at my age. I feel more like a rose bush with all these children.
You're still my lovely little Rosebud.
And, Mr. Yancey, and?
And I promise. Goodbye, my dear.
Goodbye. Thank you, Mr. Yancey.
Well, hello, Jack.
Good morning, Captain Yancey. Is Margaret in?
Yeah, she's in. I think she'll be glad to see you.
Well, I hope so, sir.
Oh, Jack, just stand your ground, will you? We don't want any women lawyers in our family.
Oh, neither do I, sir. That is... Well, yes, sir. I'll stand my ground, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
May I come in?
Oh, hey, just a minute.
I'm in an awful hurry, Margaret.
Come in. Oh, goodness gracious, what are you in such a rush for?
I'm leaving this morning on the 10 o'clock, and I'll be gone 3 months.
Leaving Lynchburg?
I got the agency for the new Stanley steamer. I'm going up to Massachusetts to the factory and learn everything I can, and then...
You needn't be so happy about it.
Well, I'm not happy about it, but... Well, that is... I'm not happy about leaving Lynchburg.
Well, won't you sit down?
I haven't got the time. Margaret, I want you to promise me something. Promise me that you won't go out walking with anybody else while I'm away.
For 3 whole months?
Oh, it isn't so long, and maybe you can use the time to sort of think things over. And then when I come back and have my agency and I'm earning my own living, well then... Gosh, it's late.
Then what, Jack?
Well, you have to get married someday.
Someday? Well, after I've proven to myself that the new woman can be just as good a lawyer as any...
Now, Margaret, let's don't go into that lady lawyer business again.
I never stopped it.
But if you're in a courtroom all day, who's going to take care of our babies?
Mr. Holden! Well, I've never been so insulted in all my life.
Hello. What's the matter?
Oh, nothing. Just talking.
Well, good, then I'm not interrupting anything.
Goodbye, Mr. Holden. I hope you have a very lovely time in Massachusetts.
I will have if you'll write to me.
I expect I'll be much too busy studying law.
Well, why don't you marry a lawyer?
Maybe I will.
Goodbye, Margaret. I hope you won't... Well, anyhow, the least you can do is not to go out walking... Goodbye, Beck.
Goodbye, Jack.
Oh, why do I always quarrel with him, Beck?
Well, I'm much too young to know about those things, Margaret, but maybe it's love?
Good morning, Captain. Oh, good morning, George. Morning, Mildred.
Good morning, Mr. Yancey.
Good morning, Captain Yancey.
Good morning, sir. Pardon me, sir. Good morning, Aunt Mandy.
Good morning.
Come in, please. I'll be with you in a few minutes, Mr. Rogard. Aunt Mandy, Josh spoke to me this morning about Jeff.
If your pa was alive, he wouldn't stand by and see my Jeff in the jailhouse.
Jeff killed Matt Toby, Aunt Mandy.
Because he caught him projecting around with his wife.
According to the law, that's murder, no matter what the reason.
But, Mr. Yancey, sir, if you explained the case to the judge, he'd listen to you.
I can't explain it, Aunt Mandy. You see, I have to take the other side.
Your pa wouldn't be on the other side of getting my child.
Try to understand, Aunt Mandy. I represent the law. And if Jeff were my own son...
You're going to let him hang my boy?
I have to prosecute Jeff, Aunt Mandy. That's my job. That's what the people of Lynchburg elect me for. But he'll have as fair a trial as a man can have, I promise you that.
But he ain't got money for a good lawyer, Mr. Yancey.
Yes, of course. All right, Mandy. He'll have a good lawyer.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I'll see to that.
Yes, sir.
Jeff has a good record, and I think that ought to help him a lot.
Oh, bless you, Mr. Yancey. You is like your pa.
Come in, Mr. Rogard.
Well, Captain Yancey, I read your speech yesterday. A masterly presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, indeed, masterly. I had to admire your eloquence, even though I differ with you on the issue.
Well, that's your privilege, sir.
I take it that you plan to stand for a 7th term?
No, not necessarily.
Well, now, that's good news. That's good news indeed.
Is it?
As you may know, I'm not without influence in Richmond. I understand that the legislature is going to appoint a new circuit judge.
Is that so?
Your one desire has always been to serve the people.
Has it?
And at present, as prosecutor, you represent only the state. But as judge, you'd represent all the people.
I make no pretense of representing the people, Mr. Rogard. I represent the law. And I do not believe in laws that cannot be enforced. That's why I'm against prohibition.
Of course, people like you and me will always have our juleps.
Oh, you mean we'll be able to buy it illegally?
Oh, well, now, Captain Yancey, let's just say that there'll always be special privileges for special persons.
Hounds of Hades, sir. Every human being in this country is a special person. And they all have equal rights to equal justice. And the day that we pass a law that the common people must obey while the special people break it, why, then shall we're scooting downhill on the seats of our pants to more trouble than we've had since the Boston Tea Party. Good day, Mr. Rogard. Mildred! Mildred Simpson, get in here.
We'll get prohibition. You'll see.
And if we do, I'll enforce it. Mildred, how do you let worms like that James Thomas Rogard inside this office? Well, the very sight of him. What in the name of roaring Romulus?
It's the porters moving in the new partner for Tyler and Phipps across the hall.
Sounds like Hannibal at the gates of Rome. My gad, this has reached the limit. Howling Hades, what's going on out here?
Sorry, Mr. Yancey. We just got a little moving job to do, sir.
How do you expect me to get my work done with you two banging around out here like a couple of bellowing bulls?
Don't you want us to wait till you get through, sir?
Yes, by gad.
No, by gad, you'll move this now.
You're violating the peace, sir, banging around outside my door.
And you're violating the Bill of Rights, sir, trying to stop me.
How do you stand on prohibition?
I'm against it.
Why?
I don't like laws that can't be enforced.
By Jove, welcome to our city, Mr.
Shirley is my name. James Shirley with Phipps and Tyler.
Now, wait a minute, Shirley. Are you Marcia Marshall's boy?
I believe my father lays some claim to me, too.
Well, blast my hat to Hades. I'm Bob Yancey. Marcia used to be my sweetheart before she met John Shirley. You know that?
Yeah, Mother's mentioned the fact once or twice.
Where's Marcia now?
Mother's in New York.
Yeah. Well, you oughtn't to have trouble getting clients. Your mother knows a lot of people out here in Lynchburg.
My mother's friends won't be much help to me, sir. My specialty is criminal law.
Is that so? How much experience?
2 years at the New York bar.
Yeah. How would you like to defend a colored fellow who has no counsel? Jefferson Brown, a murderer.
He's not a murderer until he's proven so.
By Jove, you are the man to defend him. Well, what are you boys waiting for? You, Sam, Ned, Alexander, lift up your lazy feet.
Yes, Mr. Yancey.
As a matter of fact, sir, Mother promised to write you a sort of letter of introduction.
Miss Rose?
Yes, Aunt Emmeline.
The mailman brought a special delivery letter for Mr. Yancey.
Aunt Emmeline, did you know that 300 years ago, Charles I ordered Mr. Yancey's great-great-great-uncle Alexander Layton's tongue cut out?
He did?
Oh, splendid ancestors are a great heritage, Aunt Emmeline.
Yes, Miss Rose, about this letter, what must I do with it?
Oh, the letter. Put it where I can find it tonight when Mr. Yancey comes home.
Yes, Miss Rose.
Steal away.
I'll put it in the napkins and he'll sure get it at dinner.
Steal away.
Joshua?
Yeah, Emmeline, honey.
Don't you let me hear about your misery holding up the wash this time.
No, Emmeline, honey.
And you wear them red flannel drawers every day.
Yes, Emmeline, honey. You asked Miss Rose if this is all to wash.
Miss Rose is 300 years behind the time and still a-going.
What's the matter with your nose, Robert? Did you get hit with a baseball?
It's none of your business.
Robert, let me see that note.
I think it's busted, Uncle Josh.
We got to find your ma this minute. Where's Miss Rose?
She's in the study doing ancestors.
Now, you sit there, Robert, till I break it to Miss Rose kind of easy like. It's me, Miss Rose. Josh.
Come in, Uncle Josh. Yes, Uncle Josh?
Miss Rose, Robert's been playing baseball today. You know, baseball's pretty rambunctious.
Really?
Sometimes boys get hurt playing baseball.
Is that so, Uncle Josh?
Miss Rose, Robert's nose is bleeding. I think it's busted.
Well, take it up to the bathroom and see what you can do with it. Will you, Uncle Josh?
Did you break it to her easy like?
Yeah. Come on.
Oh, what'd you say?
She said for me to take it to the bathroom.
Mother said Bob Yancey is Lynchburg.
Afternoon, baby.
Good afternoon, Mr. Yancey, sir.
Marcia Marshall was born with a Blarney stone in her mouth.
Yes.
I can remember when we were just children. We used to say, Marcia, you're the... Joel, this is my son, Mr. Shirley.
How do you do, Mr. Shirley?
How do you do?
And where's your mother?
She's writing ancestors in the study.
My wife dotes on genealogy. And where are Margaret and Rebecca?
Margaret's at her music lesson, and Beck's gone up on the carriage house roof to paint.
Okay. Yes, a view of the river, no doubt. Just ask Rebecca to come into the library, will you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Rebecca loves to paint. My daughters are just old-fashioned girls, Jim. They typify the graces of the women of my day. None of this hoydenish nonsense about our Lynchburg girls. They...
Beck, Father wants you.
What does he want?
He wants you. Doing in my pants?
They're not your pants, they're Bob.
Bob gave them to me. I was saving them to wear fishing. We'll see if you won't leave my things alone.
Oh, I'm not hurting your old pants.
Yours, too. It's all over paint. And if it sits, now you'll take them off.
Oh, I'll clean this paint off every bit.
Yeah, I know how you'll clean them.
Oh, Joe Yancey, you nasty little...
Let me go. Yeah, you'll take them off, that's what. No, you will, too. You let Joe ruin my pants. Stop it.
Joe! Joe! What is the meaning of this? My daughter and Pam.
Well, naked Neptune, Father. That hideous old roof is right between my room and the river. And I thought if I'd painted it red and green, well, the color of the plowed fields of Bedford.
Your face looks as if it's spattered with the plowed fields of Bedford. You're a disgrace, Rebecca.
On the contrary, sir. I think your paint freckles are quite becoming, Miss Yancey.
Savonarola. And naked Neptune.
Yeah.
Snake in the grass, I'll kill him, that's what I'll do.
Oh, well, I'm not going to hurt you, Robert. Oh, easy, son.
Oh. Mother! Father, come quick!
What is it, Rebecca? What is it?
Oh, it's Bob. Something's happened to him. I think he's dying.
Oh, my goodness, nobody ever tells me anything.
What in the howling Hades the matter?
I don't know. Bobby's hurt.
Why, telephone Dr. Edwards. He's just around the corner. If you can't get him, phone the hospital.
I'll get somebody, sir.
Where is
Central, Central.
Is his nose broken, Mr. Shirley?
We don't know yet. You'd better stay down here, Joe. Central, Central. Central? Get me Dr. Edwards. It's an emergency. Hurry. Dr. Edwards? You're wanted over at Captain Yancey's home at once. I don't know, Doctor. Will you come right away? Thank you, sir.
My goodness, what's happened to his mother?
Now, don't get excited. I'm sure it's not serious.
Oh, it's terrible.
Robert, your poor nose. Why didn't you tell Mother? Oh, that's a fine question.
Are you in much pain, son?
Oh, my neck half twisted off leaning over this tub.
But, Mr. Yancey, we better carry Robert where he can lie down.
Yes, I'll carry the child, Rosa.
I'm no child and I can walk.
Yes. Well, stand back, everybody, and give him room.
I don't need room. I need air.
Yes, well, stand back, everybody, and give him air.
Uncle Josh, bring more towels.
Yes,
Margaret Yates, feel the keys to tape out the medicine chest. Becky, get the scissors. I'll tear off some bandage.
Jim! Yes, where in the name of Moat Methuselah is that doctor?
Oh, I'll call again.
Yeah, get him. Stand back, everybody, and give him air.
Uncle Josh, bring more towels.
Yes,
Margaret, get the keys to tape the medicine chest. Becky, get the scissors. I'll tear off some bandage.
The doctor's here, sir.
Joel, my boy, are you the one that's sick?
In here, Doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Well, what have we here?
His nose, Doctor.
Ouch!
Does it hurt much, son?
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Just a simple fracture. Nothing to worry about.
Oh.
You know, it might turn out to be nicer than it was.
What do you mean, nicer?
Not so much a Yancey nose, more like my side of the family.
Rosa, you talk as if you'd broken it yourself.
Help! Everybody get quick! Joe's room is burning! It's burning!
Hinges of Hades!
Here.
Yeah, they gave me a guarantee with this thing. They said it never failed. The friend in need fire extinguisher. But it works! It works! It works!
Aunt Emmeline, I've told you so many times, the napkins should be placed beside the plates, not on them.
Lordy, Miss Rose, I figured they'd see them better on their plates.
It must be wonderful to travel and see the whole world.
Miss Becky, if you had spent your entire childhood away from Virginia, why, you'd jump at a chance to come home.
Oh, you're a Virginian? How nice. Where were you born?
Lynchburg.
Lynchburg? Well, I thought I knew everybody in Lynchburg. Now, let me see. Oh, my goodness, no wonder I can't place you. I don't know your name yet.
This is Marcia's son, Rosa.
Marcia, how nice. Marcia who?
Marcia Marshall. She married John Shirley. You remember Marcia?
Oh, yes, of course I remember her. She's been away from us for quite a number of years now, but I doubt if anybody in Lynchburg has forgotten her. How is she now, Mr. Shirley?
Oh, beautiful and active and excited about life as ever. She's president of the Republican Women's Club.
Women?
Republican?
She believes in careers for women.
And how does your father feel about careers for women?
Well, as it happens, you see, my mother divorced my father over 10 years ago. Mr. Templeton, my stepfather, is very proud of her activities.
She remarried?
Yes.
Well,
Jim here is going to debate.
You better put this in your lap so I can put this dish down.
Yeah. Well, what in the...
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's my wife's filing system, Jim.
This is from you, Mr. Yancey. Headquarters, Women's Republican Club.
Must be from Mother.
Oh, read it, Rosa. Let's see what Marcia has to say.
Bob, darling.
Marcia always called everybody darling.
Still does.
Go on, Rosa.
By now, you probably will have met my son, James Weldon Shirley, who stubbornly refuses to establish law practice in any place other than Lynchburg. Will you give him the keys to the city and make him welcome? As ever, Marcia.
Yeah, I told Jim this afternoon that Marcia Marshall's boy needs no introduction. Well, what's the matter, Rosa?
Nothing. Nothing at all. In spring, sometimes I lose my appetite. You'll excuse me, please.
Help your mother, Becky.
I can help myself, thank you. Rebecca, finish your dinner. Good night, Mr. Shirley.
Good night, Mrs. Yancey.
Miss Rose? Miss Rose, would you like some tea and biscuits on a tray?
No, thank you, Aunt Emmeline. I should like not to be disturbed by anybody. Cross marks for kisses.
wonder what's keeping Mr. Shirley.
Oh, Father's now having his third cup of coffee and his second cigar and is telling Mr. Shirley all about Lynchburg.
I like Mr. Shirley.
Yes, he's quite attractive. Well, if Mr. Shirley's looking for me, I'll be in the garden.
Did you forget us, Miss Becky? It's past our bedtime, but we've been waiting up for you.
All right, all right. What would you like?
The one that sounds like this. Da-dum, dum, dum, da, da, da,
You like that one, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
100,000 years ago, a wise man said we all should know that each girl and boy should be filled with joy and face the world with a smile. He said that life was meant to be a perfect thing for you and me. And who are we who disagree with philosophy so worthwhile? The world was made for you, so love and laugh and have your fling. The world will give you everything. Moonlit sea and the sun of gold are ours alone to have and hold. So raise your voice in a merry song and sing the whole day long. Sing to the sun, life has begun. Sing to the sun, life has begun.
My goodness, how long have you been here?
That was lovely, Miss Rebecca.
Thank you, Miss Becky. Excuse us, mister. We got to go now. Good night, Miss Becky.
Good night.
I thought Margaret was a musician.
Oh, well, she's the one who studies music, but she wants to be a lawyer.
Oh,
And I'm the one who studies painting, but I want to sing.
I see.
For generations, the oldest Yancey daughter has always been the musician and the younger an artist. We just don't argue anymore.
Heavens above. It's like a trip to Beulah Land, getting these dishes back and forth. I wish they put the dining room back where it belongs.
Shouldn't this be the dining room?
Oh, yes. We eat in the library.
Well, whose idea is that?
Mother's. She moved the library back here right after she and Father married because there was too much noise up front, and she wanted a peaceful, quiet place to read and write. Only it wasn't exactly peaceful. So then she took Father's study away from him and promised she'd move the library back up front as soon as she got around to it. That was 20 years ago.
Where is everybody?
Everybody is in the garden.
So Miss Margaret wants to be a lawyer.
Well, hello.
We were just talking about you, Miss Margaret.
How nice.
What a lovely garden, and right in the middle of Lynchburg. You know, New York's got nothing but tall buildings and paved streets, and if you want so much as a blade of grass, why, you've got to go all the way over to Central Park.
I don't think I'd like that.
Oh, I did.
What do you want?
Beck, do you know what he asked me?
Oh. He didn't ask you to marry him.
He asked me to come to court when he tries his first case in Lynchburg.
Oh. They did? Well, are you going?
Well, I will if you'll go with me.
Oh, sure I will.
Oh, Mother won't let us.
Well, we could sit in the back of the courtroom and nobody'd ever see us.
Come in. I just wanted to make sure you're all right.
All right?
Mr. Shirley, he's gone?
Yes.
Good night, Margaret.
Mother, when may I put my hair up and let my dresses down just a little?
In the fall, perhaps. Good night, Becky. Good night, my little girls.
Good night.
Rosa,
Yes, Mr. Yancey.
would you mind telling me just what got into you tonight?
I shall be happy to tell you, Mr. Yancey. May I come in?
May you come in? What in the
Please,
name?
Mr. Yancey, the children are sleeping.
Now, Rosa, the court is called to order. Would you mind telling this very intelligent jury the sordid details of the case of Rosa Yancey versus James Weldon Shirley?
Well, in the first place, I consider it downright indecent for a woman to have two husbands at the same time, Mr. Yancey.
Why, Rosa Yancey, I never heard of such nonsense. You know darn good and well that Marcia divorced John Shirley.
When the minister pronounced Marcia and John man and wife, certain ties were implied.
Implied is right. The whole institution of marriage is just implied at a wedding ceremony. People are married by years together. Years of joy and sorrow, pain and death. And if time doesn't prove the marriage vows...
So you condone divorce?
Oh, bosh and bullwhips. There are times when it's better to whack off a leg than to let your whole body rot.
Maybe Marcia wouldn't have had to whack off a limb if she hadn't gone around calling men darling.
Rosa, I explained all that once tonight.
You're so good at explaining, Mr. Yancey. Suppose you explain this.
What?
Cross marks for kisses.
Cross marks for kisses?
At her age, too.
Why, Rosa Yancey.
Well?
I do believe you're jealous.
Please, Mr. Yancey. Jealous of Marcia Marshall. Oh.
Well, now, wait a minute, Rosa. There is an explanation, and it has nothing to do with kissing.
Really, Mr. Yancey, I don't wish to hear it.
All right, Rosa. I shall respect your wishes. You won't hear it. And you can just worry and wonder and worry.
Good night, Mr. Yancey.
Good night, Rosa. Jefferson Brown here says that the killing of Matt Toby was unpremeditated. That he merely wanted to give him a friendly warning to stay away from his wife, and that he killed in self-defense. Gentlemen of the jury, the prosecution takes full cognizance of the fact that the record of the accused is without blemish. Jefferson Brown says that he went to Matt Toby's house to give him a friendly warning, but the fact remains that there are those who will bear witness that Jefferson, on learning that the deceased was paying attention to his wife, boldly threatened to teach Matt Toby a lesson which he would not forget.
Harry, I don't like the looks of that jury. They're not here to try that boy. They're here to hang him.
It looks bad, sir.
Ought not to be tried till things cool off.
Would the prosecuting attorney be pleased to proceed?
I'm going to break this up, Harry.
Jefferson hunted Matt Toby down. Jefferson found the door locked. You better open this here door, Matt, and let me in. Get away from here, Jefferson. I don't want to see you. Get away from my door. And then Jefferson started pounding on the door. Well, what are you laughing at?
Your face, sir.
You're blacker than the accused.
Well, Your Honor, I have no burnt cork, so I must use the materials at hand.
Your Honor, in the interest of my client, may I request that the attorney for the Commonwealth get the ink off his face before proceeding with his argument?
Your Honor, the counsel for the defense is out of order with his request. There is no law which compels me to present my argument in white face.
Nor is there a law permitting the attorney for the Commonwealth to play the clown in court.
Counsel for the defense is entirely within his rights, sir.
I do not wish to take unfair advantage of the defendant.
Go and wash your face, Bob Yancey.
You have no laws of precedent, sir.
Common decency is a precedent, sir.
Are you insinuating that because a man's face is black, he's indecent, sir?
This trial won't go on until your face is washed, sir.
Very well, sir. Then it won't go on.
The attorney for the Commonwealth is fined $50 for contempt of court.
Your Honor, I have been fined for contempt of court before, and I have paid that fine. But this is an injustice. I stand on my constitutional rights. I will not pay this fine.
You'll pay it or go to jail.
Very well, sir. I'll go to jail.
You're under arrest, sir.
Your Honor, I didn't mean to cause all this. I withdraw my request.
Your request has nothing to do with this, counsel.
Well, perhaps if Captain Yancey would apologize to the court.
If you hold your breath till I apologize, sir, you'll explode.
Take him to jail.
You can't put Captain Yancey in jail?
I can't, eh? Take him away. Mr. Jordan will stand for the Commonwealth.
Is I guilty? Don't worry, Jeff. Margaret, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't for the world.
I don't care to discuss it.
But, Margaret, please believe me, I never dreamed
My
that...
father has lived here all of his life, honored and respected.
I know.
And then you come to town because you want to act smart and show off.
But that's not fair. I had my client to consider.
Oh, everybody knows Jefferson Brown is guilty.
Not till he's so proven. He has the right of unbiased trial before a jury of his peers.
Oh, you and your silly old legal terms. I hate the law. Come on, Becky, let's go play.
Mr. Shirley, I understand that whatever you did, you had to do because you're Jefferson's lawyer.
Thank you, Miss Becky.
Consigned to a cell, Robert Yancey, apparently in good appetite, ate a hearty supper. That sounds just like Father was about to be hung.
And to think that Mr. Yancey's great-great-grand-uncle was rector of Paulson Parish.
And following the evening meal, the attorney for the Commonwealth spent the early part of the evening chatting with the other prisoners in the bullpen.
And John Yancey of Weddington was the most brilliant statesman of his time. Thomas Jefferson used to call him the wheel horse of democracy.
Well, I think Father's quite a wheel horse himself. Spending the night in jail seems very democratic to me.
Good morning, ladies.
Oh, Mr. Yancey.
Kill the fatted calf, the prodigal has returned.
I warned you about that, Jim Shirley. He isn't in town a week until he has you blacked up like the end man in the minstrel show.
Jim Shirley didn't black my face.
And as if that wasn't bad enough to get you thrown into jail.
Your cousin, Judge Stewart, threw me in jail. Here.
Mr. Yancey, the dignity of a courtroom must be upheld.
Oh, blast the dignity of a courtroom. I'm a free Virginian with full liberty to do as my conscience directs.
You were not a free Virginian last night.
Excuse me. Good morning, Mr. Yancey, sir.
At least in jail, the dining room was right beside the kitchen. Good morning, Emmeline. Suffering Savonarola. Get out of here, you pest.
Mr. Yancey, you know perfectly well that Tabitha is...
Well, hang it all, she doesn't have to have her kittens up my britches leg.
Mr. Yancey.
I got fleas already.
You probably got them in jail. The audacity of that awful man asking my daughters to a public murder trial.
All trials are public, Rosa. That's provided for in the Bill of Rights. Jeff got 5 years. Well, when I go to Richmond next week, I'll see the governor about having that suspended.
Mr. Yancey, you spend half of your time getting people in jail and the other half getting them out. You do not make sense.
Good morning, Margaret.
Morning, Father.
Hello, Father.
Hello. Well, that's what I call a welcome.
Did you bring us a present from the jail?
Only fleas, my boy, only fleas.
Children, you may run along now.
But, Mother,
Run along.
Yes, Mother.
Run along.
Yes, Mother.
Mr. Yancey, I am forbidding Mr. Shirley the house.
But Jim Shirley was entirely within his rights, Rosa. I'm the one that was out of order.
I shall instruct the girls not to speak to him.
You needn't worry about me, Mother. I never want to see him again.
Well, I want to see him again.
You what?
Well, what sort of a lawyer would Jim Shirley be if he didn't stand up for his client?
Jeff was proven guilty. He got 5 years.
For manslaughter, not murder. Jim saw to that.
No decent lawyer would defend such a disgusting case.
Well, somebody has to defend everybody. It's in the Bill of Rights.
Oh, Mother, there she goes with the Bill of Rights.
Rebecca, please do not mention that repulsive young man nor the Bill of Rights in this house again. They are both out of our lives forever.
Jim Shirley's not out of my life.
Rebecca.
For me?
No, Miss Becky.
For me?
Yes.
Oh, how sweet. Who's it from? Such grown-up understanding in one so young deserves far more than these posies.
Well, who is it from?
James Weldon Shirley.
Mr. Yancey, I think we are going to have an early summer.
What? Oh, are we?
I don't think we will wait until school is out. We'll go to Grandmother's farm at once.
But, Mother...
You might as well start packing, girls.
Sugar? Baby, come on in the house. You have to set the table.
It's almost 8 o'clock, Mr. Yancey.
Well, Rose, I can't finish my breakfast until I have some more biscuits, can I? Emmeline, why don't you bring enough... Oh,
Mr. Yancey, you ought not to eat so much. It's not good for your heart and stomach.
hang it, my organs are my servants, not my master. I don't intend to spend my life catering to my heart and stomach.
But, Mr. Yancey, the doctors say a proper diet will prolong your life for years.
Yeah, by years in bed without tobacco, existing on a diet of mush and milk. I don't call that prolonging life, it's prolonging death.
I can't imagine what women are coming to, behaving so outrageously about the vote.
And it's high time we got it.
Good morning, Mother.
Good morning, Mother.
Good morning, Grandma. Morning. Sit down, children. Sit down.
Yeah. It's good for me you haven't got it. Rosa would have been voting against me at every election.
I certainly would have, Mr. Yancey. That Emmeline Pankhurst has issued another statement from her jail cell in London.
Just like a bunch of men. Whenever they can't give women a sensible answer, they throw them in jail. Thank you, Emmeline.
Well, of all things. While addressing a group in Union Square, Mrs. Marcia Templeton was hit in the eye with a rotten egg by a woman who shouted, "Why don't you go home and take care of your children?" Very fair question, I must say.
She's only got one children, and he's 26 years old and lives in Lynchburg.
That's not Marcia Marshall. The girl you used to be in love with?
There's just puppy love, Mother, puppy love.
Where there's a bark, there's a bite. It's funny you never hear from Marcia, Robert. I still hear from Mr. Saunders.
Who is Mr. Saunders?
Oh, gentleman I used to know before I married your grandfather.
Why, Grandma.
What's happened to you this summer, Margaret? Where are all your young men?
What young men?
Well, that nice Jack Holden.
Oh, Margaret and Jack had a fight because Margaret said she was going to be a lawyer, and Jack got mad and wouldn't come back anymore. And then she fell in love with Mr. Shirley.
Mother!
And he got Father put in jail. And Mother said she couldn't see him anymore. So now Margaret hasn't got any beau.
Caroline, that will do.
Yeah, she's all through, Rosa, and a very terse and concise report, too. Phew, this is really going to be a scorcher, huh?
Why must you go into town today, Mr. Yancey? It's Saturday.
Business, my dear, business.
But, Father, I thought you were going to take me fishing today.
Yes, and you promised to take me and Carolyn, too. Don't you remember?
I know.
Yes, Father, please. Please, Father, please.
Wait a minute. No, I've got to go to town. I have an appointment at John Phelps' blacksmith shop.
Well, what are you going to do at the blacksmith shop, Father?
Your father spends half his time at Mr. Phelps' blacksmith shop, Caroline.
But why?
Well, you see, John Phelps is my campaign manager. He has been for 20 years. And this morning, the campaign committee is meeting at John Phelps' place to ask me to run for a 7th term. But I promised your mother that I wouldn't run again, so I have to go to town to tell them that I decline the nomination.
Well, bless my soul. I always thought they'd have to dynamite you out of that office.
Nostalgic Nicodemus, I'll miss my train. Josh! Josh! Where are you? Where is that? Oh, yes.
You won't forget to give it to him, will you, Father?
Have I ever?
Jim's wonderful, isn't he? I mean, well, what I mean is he...
Yes, I know. You mean he's wonderful. Oh.
Goodbye, Father. Be careful now. Be careful.
Josh, where the holy hell are you? You'll make me miss my train.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Yancey.
Why does he have to wait until the very last minute? So he has to race those poor horses to the train.
Oh, ever since he was a little boy, he's been crazy about being her. His father was like that, Rosa.
Boys, there are 100 men in Lynchburg can take my place.
We grant you that, Bob.
Maybe 1,000,
But we ain't got time to find him, Captain Yancey. Not with a primary coming up in August.
This is complete nonsense, boys. Lynchburg is a clean, decent town, full of clean, decent people. It can get along without my services.
Gentlemen, what do you think that Rogard has done? Mr. James Thomas Rogard, he's up to some skullduggery.
Well, if that idiot thinks he's going to throw his hat in the political ring, he hasn't a chance.
Mr. Rogard is too smart to get into politics, sir. He just stays on the outside waiting to see which way the wind will blow, and so when he found out Captain Yancey wasn't going to run again, why...
When he found out? How could he find out what I've just told my campaign committee?
It seems Mrs. Yancey's cousin Dorothy told some ladies, sir, Mr. Rogard's wife among them.
Oh, yes, go on.
Well, this morning there was a run on liquor all over the city. The Conlon warehouse sold 16,000 barrels in 1,000-barrel lots. What's more, the same thing's going on all over the county.
Well, I reckon folks are just stocking up against prohibition, that's all.
Not in 1,000-barrel lots, Mr. Phelps.
What are you getting at, Jim? Let's have it.
Jamie Tobin contracted for 1,000 barrels of bourbon, $12,000 worth.
Jamie Tobin ain't got 12,000 flapjacks.
No, but the man he's working for has. And, gentlemen, Tobin's working for Rogard.
Rogard? Why, he's the fellow's been preaching for prohibition ever since he hit town.
By Jove, I've got it. I know why Rogard came here and why he's buying up all that liquor. He's counting on Lynchburg going dry at the next election, and he's going to bootleg it at twice the price.
And sell it in dives and undercover places.
And turn our town into a mecca for crooks and lawbreakers.
Like sin he will, not while I'm attorney for the Commonwealth.
Glory be! I knowed he'd run again.
Now, wait a minute, boys, wait a minute. I came here to decline this nomination.
But, Bob, you can't let this happen.
But I promised my wife.
There's not a woman in Lynchburg with more public spirit than Rosie Yancey, Bob.
Yeah, I know Rosa has a fine public spirit.
Why, Bob, what on earth? Uncle Josh wanted to get the plowing done while the weather's fine, so I'm going to meet Father. Well, drive carefully, son. Yes, Mother. Get up there.
Miss Rose, I'm going to pick the strawberries now.
Yes, I want to pick now while the sun is still on them. Mr. Yancey says that's when they're best.
Yes, I'm going to make him a strawberry shortcake, too.
He loves strawberry shortcake. And have some fried chicken and hot biscuits. Have everything he likes tonight, Aunt Emmeline. Everything.
Yes, Miss Rose, I will.
Being married to you is one long worry.
Well, Emmeline, honey, you so surprised me.
I'm going to surprise you worse if you don't get your old skinny carcass inside of these drawers.
But, honey, it's been so hot today, my rheumatism ain't give me a single bother.
Well, maybe it ain't give you no bother, but come night and it will. Go on now, this minute.
All right, Emmeline.
We ain't gonna put these drawers on now, Hogs. Wait till ever I call us to eat. Steal away. Steal away. Within of my soul. Ain't got one.
Right, left,
Two.
right.
Whoa!
1, 2, 3, 4. Left, right.
Look at
left,
them children
right,
with my red
right.
drawers.
1, 2, left, right, left, right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left, right, left, right, 1, 2.
Stop them red drawers! Grab them, child! Look out! Get out of the way. Get in there, quick! Get in there, child! Hurry up! Here! Caroline, is you all right, honey?
Are you hurt, Carolyn? No, I'm all right.
Well, good evening, ladies.
Good evening, Mr. Yancey.
Good evening, Ben-Hur. Now what?
Good heavens.
What's the matter with Caroline, Josh?
Nothing the matter, boss. Just tired and out can.
See? She's all right, ain't she, hon?
Of course I'm all right.
Well, if you's all right, how come your knee all skid up?
My goodness, Caroline, how did you do it?
She got it when Uncle Josh rolled under the fence.
What for, Uncle Josh?
All right, let's have it.
He was trying to get his drawers away from Carolyn.
Why, Caroline.
Joshua, I
All
told...
right, Emmeline, all right. I'll explain everything soon as I get my breath to going.
Gee, it was just like a bullfight. Golly, you ought to seen Uncle Josh grab those old drawers and jump in front of that old Jupiter and slam him on that old Jupiter's horns and grab Carolyn and roll her under the fence. Golly.
So you two were in the North pasture.
Why, you might have been killed. Mr. Yancey, they might all have been killed if it hadn't been for Uncle Josh. Oh, Uncle Josh. Mr. Yancey, Jupiter has hurt Uncle Josh.
Where'd he hurt you, Josh?
Jupiter ain't hurt me, boss. Nowhere. I'm all right. Guess I'm just scared.
What were you two doing in the North pasture?
We were playing army and using Uncle Josh's red drawers for a flag. When that old Jupiter...
I've told you over and over again that you were never to go in Jupiter's pasture.
Oh, Mr. Yancey, please don't whip her.
They risked your life, Josh. They've got to be taught a lesson.
It's all my fault, Mr. Yancey. I take all the blame. I should have been watching them.
They know right from wrong. March.
Josh.
Get over there by the balustrade. I'm going to give you two a licking that you won't forget. Joe, you're the elder. I hold you responsible.
I don't see why we have to get a licking just because we were chased by an old bull.
Your father isn't punishing you because you were chased by a bull, Caroline. You're being punished because you broke your word. You promised that you would never go in the North pasture. Isn't that true, Mr. Yancey?
Exactly. What respect would you children have for me if I went about breaking my promises?
Father did break his word. He promised he'd stay home today and take us fishing.
Your father had very important business in Lynchburg, Joel.
Here. Let this be a lesson to you.
Yes, Father.
Why, Mr. Yancey, you ain't touched your strawberry shortcake.
It's the heat, Emmeline. I seem to have lost my appetite. How's Josh?
Oh, he's just fine, thank you, sir.
The strawberries are particularly good this year, just like English berries.
How do you know? You've never been to England.
No, but I can imagine what they're like with Devonshire cream. I've always longed to taste Devonshire cream. Joel, Caroline, say good night. It's your bedtime.
Do we have to?
You heard what your mother said, Caroline.
Yes, Father.
You know, Mr. Yancey, I've never mentioned it before, because as long as you were attorney for the Commonwealth and had your duties to perform, it was out of the question. But now that you're not going to run, couldn't we, next spring perhaps, couldn't we go to England? All of us? No, Becky, we couldn't afford that, but I thought perhaps your father and I. I've always dreamed of seeing London someday.
Good night, Mother.
Good night, dear.
It's very warm in here. I think I'll get a breath of air if you'll excuse me.
Good night, Father.
Oh, good night. Good night.
Well, Rosa, now that you've been to England...
Excuse me, Mr. Yancey, sir.
Yes, Josh.
You left your briefcase in the carriage.
Oh, thank you, Josh. Will you put it up in my room?
Yes, sir, boy. You ain't mad at them children no more, is you, Mr. Yancey?
You love them, don't you, Josh?
Them your children, Mr. Yancey, sir.
It seems only yesterday that you were saving me from my just desserts.
Remember I always told you, licking hurt twice as much before you get it than it do after you got it.
Yeah, that's a truth that doesn't change with the years, Josh. Still holds good.
Yes, sir, boy. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Join us, Father?
Later. Rosa, Roger Payson paid you a great compliment today.
He did? What did he say?
He said there wasn't a woman in Lynchburg with more public spirit than you.
Well, wasn't that nice of Mr. Payson?
Rosa, James Thomas Rogard is already buying up all the liquor he can lay his hands to and planning to sell it illegally at a big profit.
Why, Mr. Yancey, that's not right. He shouldn't be allowed to.
By Jove, Rosa, he's not going to be. If prohibition comes, corruption and graft will come with it. And the fair city of Lynchburg will be run by crooks and bootleggers and...
Mr. Yancey. You're going to run again.
Well, this is the last time, Rosa. Absolutely the last time.
You promised me. Only this morning you promised me. You've broken your promise.
But it's my duty, Rosa. Surely you wouldn't want me to neglect my duty.
When a man wants to do a thing badly enough, he can always find a way to call it his duty.
But I've...
Please, I'd rather not discuss it any further.
I said it would take dynamite.
Mother, you ought to understand.
All I understand is that as long as there's a Yancey, he'll always dig up a Rogard to go out and fight with. I wanted to go to Monte Carlo. Still do. Oh, well, there's plenty of time. Why don't you young people take a walk?
Will you, Rosa? Please, Rosa.
If you wish to, Mr. Yancey. Of course.
Nice stand of apples this year, Rosa.
Splendid, Mr. Yancey.
Did you know that Thomas Jefferson gave this apple tree to my great-grandfather?
You told me that before, Mr. Yancey.
You remember the first time I told you?
That's not a moment one forgets, Mr. Yancey. For 15 minutes you told me about Thomas Jefferson and the apple tree. And then you said...
Miss Rosa, will you marry me?
Yes, Mr. Yancey. Wasn't I shameless?
Shameless?
My mother told me I must say no, Mr. Yancey, the first 3 times you asked me.
Rosa, will you marry me? You know, Rosebud, I've made a lot of speeches in my time, but that was the best one.
Thank you, Mr. Yancey.
This is absolutely the last time, Rosa. When this term is over, so help me, I'll take you to England on the fastest boat, and I'll buy you more Devonshire cream than you can swim in.
I'm a very contented woman, Mr. Yancey. I don't have to go to England. And I shan't feel badly treated if I never taste Devonshire cream. But there are some things that aren't so good to think of tasting, Mr. Yancey. One of them is defeat.
Defeat, Rosa?
How can you suppose you'll always win? How can you put your heart and soul and ambition and everything into something that, if you lose, you haven't got and will leave you stranded? And it's all you ever wanted. Don't you see what I mean? I mean...
Yes, Rosebud. You mean I shouldn't put all my eggs in one basket?
I mean you're tempting fate, Mr. Yancey. This isn't the first time, nor the second, nor the third. It's the seventh. And you're not growing any younger. Can't bear to think of you being hurt. Someday you will be. Harold. Someday you'll wake up and find yourself an old man. No public office and no private practice. Nothing left to live for.
I'll have everything to live for, Rosa.
Thank you, Mr. Yancey.
How the old folks would enjoy it. They would sit all night and listen as we sang in the evening by the moonlight. Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? She moans the whole day long.
She moans the whole day long.
I'll do the cooking, darling. I'll pay the rent. I knows I've done you wrong. Remember that rainy evening I drove you out with nothing but a fine-tooth comb. I knows I was to blame. Well, ain't that a shame? Bill Bailey, won't you please come home?
Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? She moans the whole day long. I'll do the cooking, darling.
I'll pay the rent. I knows I've done you wrong. Remember that rainy evening I drove you out with nothing but a fine-tooth comb. I knows I was to blame.
Well, ain't that a shame?
Bill Bailey, won't you please come home? Oh, please come home.
Hello, Margaret.
Jack. Hello.
I'm spending the weekend here in Bedford with Aunt Tucker. I thought that, well, that is, this is the new model just out.
Oh, how interesting.
I thought that Mr. Yancey might like to see it.
That was very thoughtful of you.
Mr. Yancey couldn't go wrong on a Stanley steamer. Inexpensive to run, speedy, no magnetos, and... Gosh, Margaret, I didn't come out here to sell your father a car. I came to tell you that you can be a lawyer.
Yeah,
You can...
and it's a Stanley steamer. A Stanley boy. Hello, Jack. Good morning, Jack.
Morning, Miss Yancey.
Well, it's about time you got here, young man.
Ma'am?
We were just going to church. If Ben Herb gets around here with the carriage.
Ben Hur.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Yancey.
Well, Jack Holden, how are you?
Fine, Mr. Yancey. Thought perhaps you'd be interested in this.
Mr. Yancey, you aren't ready for church.
No, I'm not going to church, Rosa.
But Dr. Joyce has come all the way from Richmond.
Well, that's why I'm not going. I don't like Dr. Joyce. He gets his values all mixed up. And besides, he doesn't like gardening. And I hold it unchristian for anybody not to like gardening. It's part of a ministry to associate with growing things.
Mr. Yancey, you're deliberately trying to get out of going to church.
I like to go to church. I'm going to Vesper services this evening at Dr. Scranton's.
But Dr. Scranton isn't at our church.
I can go to any church I want to, can't I? That's part of the Bill of Rights. And I prefer Dr. Scranton. He's a sportsman, an outdoor man. Jesus was an outdoor man, and he preached about the open sky and the sea and fishermen. Simple things.
Are we going to church, aren't we? We're already late.
Oh, I'll be glad to drive you all over, Miss Yancey.
Well, that's a fine idea. Come on, get in, Rosa.
How fast will it go?
Well, no one's ever let a Stanley steamer out, but it should do 60 on the straightaway easy.
60 miles an hour? You don't have to show me.
Well, I hope not.
Oh, Margaret, why don't you sit in front?
Oh, no, Grandmother, I much prefer to...
Oh, scat, don't wait me. Sit up in front with Jack where you belong.
Come round this way, Margaret.
Mother, why do you embarrass her like that?
Because I don't like old maids. Come here. There.
You better tell Uncle Josh that we shan't be using the carriage.
Yeah, I'll tell him I'm going around there now.
Well, hold on, everyone.
I will.
Here we go.
Josh! Josh! Where the whole... Josh. Poor Josh.
We've been friends for a long time, ain't we, boy?
Dearly beloveds, we have come to pay our last respects to all that is mortal of Joshua Preston. I'm the minister here, and I'm supposed to preach this funeral. But I ain't been amongst y'all long, and I'm a stranger to the deceased. If Joshua Preston could have his choice, I believe that he would rather somebody else would say the last words over him. And I believe that he would rather it be his boss. Mr. Yancey, sir, would you take over my pulpit?
I deem it a privilege. My friends, Josh's friends, we have all read in the Holy Word that greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends. Last week, Josh saved a life, the life of my little girl. And perhaps the shock of this experience was too much for his aging heart to stand. But perhaps there's a better way of looking at it.
Perhaps the good Lord left Josh with us a little longer than he meant to. Just a little longer. So that he could save the life of this child whom he loved so well. Because Josh loved children just as he loved flowers and birds and laughter and the rich brown earth from which he was made. Today, we are returning his body to that earth, since God has seen fit to take his soul. Josh and I were friends all our lives. And if he were here today, I think I know what would please him most. Will you play something that Josh liked? Something he liked to sing? And all of you sing. Sing for Josh, our friend.
Don't go gallivanting around. Remember, your mother and Margaret are coming in from Richmond on that 1 o'clock train.
I won't. I'll pick you up at 12:30.
Right on the dot.
Hey, look out, you!
Well, look out yourself.
Oh, Jim, I was afraid I'd miss you.
Well, you tried hard enough not to.
Oh, well, I mean, Father made me late, and I thought I was supposed to meet you at the library.
Well, I took a chance of catching you here. I've got to go over to Lane and Marble.
Oh. What's the matter?
Your hair, it's up.
Do you like it?
Yes, I do. How's the family?
Oh, in a perfect dither. Mother and Margaret and Karen have been in Richmond shopping for the wedding.
I'll bet Margaret will be a lovely bride.
Yes, she will.
Tell me, am I still the gentleman with the cloven hooves and the pointed tail around your house?
I don't know, Jim. Mother just doesn't mention you, that's all. You know, it's funny how someone can go on worrying for 20 years over something that never happened.
I'm glad it didn't happen, Becky.
So am I. Father got a tremendous thrill out of bringing me your letters. You know, Jim, he's a born conspirator.
I think he's the most wonderful man I've ever known in all my life, Becky.
I know he is. But I'm always surprised when outsiders realize it, too. He hollers so much.
Well, only at those he loves. Well, I don't believe in all his life he's ever done a really unkind thing to anyone. Somehow, Becky, I think you're going to be a lot like him.
Somehow, I don't think there'll ever be anyone quite like him again. But I've never had a nicer compliment.
Oh, there we are.
awful so sorry, darling, but I came as soon as I could get away. Mother, I want you to meet Captain Yancey's daughter, Miss Rebecca Yancey. Bex, this is my mother.
Why, you darling child. You're like your father, isn't she, Jane? Thank you, Mrs. Templeton. You know, your lovely mother took your father away from me. Robert was my beau until Rosa came along. Yes, I sort of heard about that. Well, I have to catch a train for Richmond right away. Call a cab, Jim, will you? I'll drive to the station, Mrs. Templeton. You darling. You're a lifesaver.
Becky, you're late. How are you, Jim?
Hello, Bob.
How do you do? Well, Marshal, what gracious providence brings you here?
Don't you read the papers, Bob? I'm touring the country for equal suffrage.
Ah, yes. Anything for a fight, eh, Marshal?
The cause is a good one. Anything.
Here she comes. Here she comes. Here she comes.
Well, what on earth?
Why don't you go home and take care of your children?
Caroline, how dare you?
Here she comes. There she is. For you, girl.
Get back. Come on.
Mother, look. I am looking.
Well, this is quite a reception, Marcia. Just some welcome here. Oh, Marcia, you remember Rosa? Rosa, surely you remember Marcia.
Oh, hi.
Rosa Yancey.
Hold it, please.
As beautiful as ever. You know, I've always been jealous of you, and at this moment, I'm simply green with it.
This is my daughter, Margaret.
Oh, so you're the one. They've been telling me. Bob Yancey, this is positively the loveliest child I've ever seen.
Gosh, Margaret, I thought I'd missed you. The streets were so crowded, I
And
couldn't
you
find
must be the lucky young man. Do you know, Jack, that your mother was one of my bridesmaids? Oh, I wish I could be here for the wedding. I just love weddings. Jim, I'm positively ashamed of you to let Jack walk away with this lovely child here. I'd like her in my family. Now, darling, you must write me all about the wedding. Sit way down front so you can tell me everything that happened. So, goodbye, Bob, darling. Goodbye, Rosa. Oh, I wish I could stay and have a good long talk with you. It's so wonderful to think of you back of Bob here. The power behind the throne, encouraging him in his career.
All aboard!
Well, bless you. Bless you all. Did you ever see anyone quite like her?
No, I never did.
Lynchburg women staged a demonstration of enthusiasm for woman's suffrage that was and is bound to be a great shock to the more conservative Lynchburg citizens.
Vote for women.
At the station, Mrs. Templeton was greeted by her lifelong friend, Mrs. Robert Yancey.
Please, Mr. Yancey, I can't stand any more.
Well, you might just well know what the papers are saying about you, Rosa.
Mother's the length right now? Yes, it's perfect, darling.
Ah, you're lovely, Margaret.
Oh, and you're a darling. You're all darling.
Mrs. Yancey, who had been shopping in Richmond with her about-to-be-married daughter, Miss Margaret Yancey, rushed up to Lynchburg on the noon train to lend the weight of her support to the equal suffrage movement, for which Mrs. Templeton is campaigning so vigorously on a whirlwind lecture tour.
Is that the end, Mr. Yancey?
Yes, that's all, Rosa.
Well, I'm disappointed, Mr. Yancey.
Why?
I thought surely there'd be some cross marks.
Angels of Hades, I'm tired of being twitted about those cross marks. Leaping Lucifer, I found it! I found it!
Yancey, what on earth are you doing?
Rosa, I know you're a very busy woman, but have you read this book?
The Secret Four? No, I don't think so.
Well, it was written a long while ago when I was a little boy. Look at it.
Really, Mr. Yancey, I haven't time.
But just open it. Just take a little look at the title page. The title, yeah. Cross marks for kisses.
Marcia Marshall, Francis Nelson, Robert Yancey, Fred Stewart.
Now, what have you got to say?
Why, really, Mr. Yancey, there's nothing to say. Robert.
Yes.
This is your last term, isn't it?
Absolutely my last, Rosa.
Well, I never heard tell of an iron drill for a rose trellis before, Mrs. Yancey.
Well, the wooden trellis keeps rotting away, Mr. Phelps. And I thought iron would last longer.
Well, now, if that's what you want, ma'am, that's what you'll get.
Mr. Phelps, I really came to ask you about Mr. Yancey's campaign.
Why, ma'am? Ain't I running it right?
Oh, of course you are. Mr. Phelps, you know how all these years I have been opposed to Mr. Yancey holding office. Well, it wasn't because I really minded the money or the time he lost because of it. It was because... Well, it was because I was afraid that someday he'd wake up and find himself an old man with no office, nothing left to live for. That mustn't happen, Mr. Phelps. It must.
Mrs. Yancey, ma'am, Captain Yancey's never been beaten.
This William T. Spencer, Jr. has a lot of supporters.
But, ma'am, Captain Bob beat the Prohibition faction in 1913. He beat the Ku Klux Klan in 1925. And I reckon he's a match for any Spencer there is in the year 1929.
But I don't want him to match Mr. Spencer. He must beat him. If there's any doubt of his doing that, you must make him withdraw from the race now. 38 years he's given to public service. It'll kill him to be defeated. It'll kill him.
Why is Grandpa's picture in the newspaper?
On account of because he got his pants beat off him. That's why. Oh, you shut your big mouth and tend to your business. Come on, Jimmy. Don't pay her no attention. Miss Rose, must I serve the breakfast now or wait for Mr. Yancey?
I'm hungry, Grandma. Yes, Can Grandma, I please eat breakfast now?
Children are hungry, Aunt Emmeline. Serve breakfast now. We'll let him sleep this morning.
Yes, Miss Rose.
Come along, children. We won't wait.
I'm so hungry.
You take care of the children, Natalie.
All right, Mother. Do I have to drink my milk, Mother? I don't like cereal. Gee, I hope we have pancakes.
Cereal and be a nice girl.
What can we say to her, Mother?
I don't know, dear. I don't know. I wish I could run away and hide this morning. I know. This is the morning I've been dreading all these years. That's why I was always so opposed to your father holding office. I knew someday he'd be defeated. If it had only happened when he was a young man. He's too old now. He can't survive the shock.
Of Alexander and some of Hercules, of Hector and Lysander, and such great men as good. Good morning.
Good morning,
Mr. Yancey.
Father.
Well, instead of finding myself elected, I find myself rejected and all the house dejected.
Good morning.
Pa.
Hooray for you, too. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Yancey.
Well, most men have to wait for their own funeral to get their whole family together at one time. No.
Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts, which we are about to receive from thy bounty. Amen.
Amen. Well, there's nothing like a whale of a walloping to give a man an appetite. Emmeline, where in the howling Hannibal are my biscuits? Emmeline!
Here they are, Father.
Oh, thank you. Nobody in this house pays any attention to time. There's no discipline, no system. When I was a young man at BMI, they insisted.
Well, I never went to Virginia Military Institute, Mr. Yancey.
A fine stew you'd have caused there, Rosebud.
Shall I drive you to the office, Father?
Where's my briefcase?
Here it is, Mr. Yancey.
What? Oh, no, not a bit of it. Oh. Two things in this world I've always loved. A bright young face and walking in the sunshine. My, but you're beautiful, Rosebud.
Rosebud at my age.
Yeah, you're still my lovely little Rosebud. It was very sweet of you to get up at the crack of dawn and change the dining room back where it belongs.
Thank you, Mr. Yancey.
Free cheese for Captain Bob Yancey!
Well, thank you, boys. Thank you. And now, I think that we ought to give 3 cheers for John Phelps, the best campaign manager a man ever had. Hip, hip. Hooray! 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 For almost 40 years now, John and I have been burning their tails off every election time. And now we know how it feels to get our tails burned off. But we're still young. At least I am. John here's getting old.
Well, there'll be another election in 4 years. And by hooky, I can take it if you can.
Well, I can take it, John. Boys, when a man has lived as long as I have, he has so much to be grateful for that he has to count his blessings 10 by 10 instead of 1 by 1. 70 that's the normal span of life according to the Bible. I've had more than that. I've had more than my share of everything. I've lived all my life in the best of all countries, in the best of all states, in the best of all cities, blessed with the best of all families, and surrounded by the best of all friends. Bilious Bonaparte, I'll be late at the courthouse. Come on, boys.
Old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be...
Poor old Dad. Poor old Dad. Naked Neptune. Just look at him go to town.
Lang syne, my dear